speeds, there are low price connected. But nowadays the low price are not connected. Whatever traffic people wanted to push the load from the yard, they add on to the train, they set up on the wallet.
Yes,
allowed. Stalls on the gradient, you cannot climb. We don't know, you will send a 19 in there. That means deliberately they are breaking the system of rules, and when something happens, they blame the employees. We become the prey. These are all the wrong things that are setting. And it is not that some people blame, the officers are doing like this. I don't agree with that. It is not officers. It is a policy of the government that is dictated by them and sincerely implemented by the officers. Administration will implement the policy of the government. Administration does not make policies. They try to implement the policy of the government. The policy of the government says, don't fill up the vacancies, keep 30% of vacancies unfilled. Again, if you go to the main crux, why you are doing all this? This LPG has come in 1990. Then PV Narasimha Rao started saying immediately we will convert all the meterage into bodies. Everybody praised him, but I did not praise him. I said he is doing at the dictates of the foreign countries, monopolies. Because they want to take over railways, they said you completely change the gauge conversion so that it will be convenient for us to earn profits. That LPG started from PV Narasimha Rao time. Now it is reaching peak. Ultimately, the present government wanted to hand over all national assets to the private people. Nothing should be in the hands of the public. If you are getting profits out of some industry or public industry or maybe transport system or some other thing or banks, whatever it may be, that profits will go to Consolidated Fund of India. And every citizen will have a right over that to demand the government to do this, to do that, to give something. But if it is once privatized, the profits will go into the hands of the private people. You have no say about it. You cannot demand that for what you should do with that money. It is with that money you will purchase the leaders. Ruling parties are getting several hundreds of thousands of crores donated by these monopolies, but it is unaccounted. No need to say who gave it, no need to say how much is given by them. And we promised to bring black money, that has never come. And currencies also. Twice we are doing it now. What is the outcome? What is the benefit people got it? Except sufferings, it is not there. But I would like to say before concluding, whatever is done, even railway accidents are caused because of private interest, not public interest. If the government gives a private interest, works sincerely and honestly for the public interest, actions will not take place. In that way, because there is more dignity to speak, I don't want to go further into that. I only say the government should give up the privatization policy, work for the public good by developing public policies favorable to the people. If that is done, actions will not take place. The more details will be given by other comrades who will speak here. With this, I conclude. I request actually I thought of presentation of paper, but of course it is already given to our chief guest and others. That was the government suggesting according to that change the program. I request comrade justice. He is comrade justice. And many people think he is only ordinary justice. No. I know about his past history. I have read a book written by him about Justice V.R. Krishnaiah. So he has those genes also in that, including Bhagavad Gita. I have so many things to say about him. He is already standing behind me. I can't get him to stand further. So now I request him to address this gathering. Thank you, sir.
Dear comrades, Vanakkam. I am afraid to say Lal Salam, Inqilab Zindabad, Kranti Zindabad. The government is not afraid of these words, but the judges are afraid of these words. A Delhi student in a meeting said that Inqilab Zindabad. Then the Delhi police filed a case against him under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, UPA. He applied for a bail. It came before the Delhi division bench because UPA bails are always heard by bench. And then you will have to prove that there is prima facie, there is no case against you. So the argument in a bail application, the Delhi police said, the accused student leader in the end of the meeting said, Inqilab Zindabad. Now everybody says Inqilab Zindabad, there is no Congress party says, BJP party says, every party says Inqilab Zindabad. Everybody knew it's a slogan. It's a slogan to bring their cadres to one. But then the Delhi High Court judges wrote a long order. It is not an innocent slogan. There is a lot of mischief behind the slogan. Nobody says Inqilab just like that. Take the French Revolution, the Robespierre, who cut the heads of all the French monarchy. Do you think it's an ordinary thing? Therefore, when somebody says Inqilab Zindabad, it means something. Therefore, this man no bail, let him be in jail. This is the order passed by the Delhi High Court, which is very shocking. Today, we have reached a stage where a slogan is very dangerous for the judiciary more than the government. Now, does the judiciary serve the needs of the ordinary people or serve the needs of the ruling party? This is a very important issue. In fact, I wrote an article against this judgment. I said, you come to Tamil Nadu, MGR is called Purachit Talevar, Jayalalitha is called Purachit Talevi. You go to Bangalore Central Station, KSR Central. What is KSR Central? Kranti Sankoli Ramaiah Central. What is Kranti? So everybody says Kranti, Kranti. Does it mean anything? Why does the judges say, take so much anxiety to stop such slogans? In 1920, the Muslim party started the slogan Inqilab Zindabad. Congress party followed. Communist party followed. Everybody says in the procession Inqilab Zindabad. Why is that the judges in Delhi High Court are afraid of such slogans? What are they trying to say? So we have reached a stage where we have to be very careful because we are now faced with a new situation, which situation was not available in the earlier days. So when you invited me for this seminar, from the day I accepted the invitation, number of mails came to me, number of WhatsApp message, sir, this is our demand, this is the research paper done by us, this is a petition sent to so and so. So they are educating me about our demands, thinking that I am going to speak on the demand. In fact, I also wonder why seminar? We always say strike preparation meeting. We never say seminar because you know your demand. All the leaders of railway, central union leaders, they know your demand. We need not educate ourselves. We will not educate the ruling party. We will not educate Mr. Modi, who has got busy touring all over the world, except for Manipur. He doesn't open his mouth. So I decided to take my privilege. I am now to inaugurate the seminar. So I need not speak on your demand. Your demands are very well known to you. Therefore, beyond the demands, let us understand what is the present situation. Mr. Modi has shown green flag for 23 Vande Bharat trains. For the central station, the 8th platform was made so beautiful. Now the figure shows 2 crores were spent on the inaugural. 2 crores. There is no money for the workers, but money is only for all these shows. Somebody wrote in the social media, why Modi is showing 23 flag? Even our central station master would have shown the green flag. Less 2 crores rupees would have been saved by the railways. Railways always say there is a loss. There is a greater loss by Prime Minister coming and showing the flag. Not one flag, everywhere. In fact, Prakash Raj, one of the very conscious cinema personality, he said a station master would have done this. Why Modi should come all the way to show it? No, it is not Vande Bharat issue. Beyond the Vande Bharat, there are issues which we will have to discuss today, and let me spend some time on that. First of all, let me say, I come from a railway family. My father was a railway worker. In fact, when I wrote a book few years back, I wrote a small poem about my father. I dedicated my book to my father. My father was born in Periyakottai. So he said in Tamil. Today I have been asked to speak in English, therefore let me say only this poem. Periyakottai Parandir, Pattukottai Padittir, Malaikottai Railway Serdir, Sakkottai Manamuridir, Tandiyapettai Kudiyerinir, வண்ணாரப்பேட்டையிலிருந்து ஜோலையார்பேட்டை வரைக்கும் பணி செய்தீர் கடைசியில் இந்த கண்ணம்மாப்பேட்டையில் மறைந்தீர் என்று நான் சொல்றேன். It's a slogan. I still consider that railway is part of our family. In fact, last year when they invited me to speak in the Vigilance Week, the next to me was the general manager was sitting to me. He asked me, sir, do you want anything? I told him I want to see where my father seat, where he worked. So he took me all the way to the park town, that office, and he showed my father's seat also. This is something more emotional, of sentimental reasons I am saying all. Even if you ask any student in those days, we were all in Mambalam, we were living in Mambalam only, studied in the school here. So we used to come to Mambalam railway station just to see the steam engine. It's a huge steam engine and the noise that it makes, it's very magnificent for a child, for a school children. In those days, if somebody asks, what is that you want to become? We will say, I want to become a steam engine driver. That's the greatest thing for a child can do. It is steel and it's magnificent, steel rods, steel wheels, all this can be there. But today if you ask me, I will say never, never. Because we have understood the difficulties of life. To become a pilot, today they may say pilot, not a driver, pilot. You are not the pilot flying in some aircraft. Just give a name and then be satisfied. Does the name make us anything? They can give 1,000 names, they can give. But more important thing is how you treat your employees. You can have more Vande Bharat. You can have more trains from Bombay to Delhi, copying from China and Japan. But what about the staff? How do you treat the staff in this country? That's a more important thing. Therefore, when All India LRSA convened such a seminar, you should have invited your officers. You should have invited the railway minister to sit here to see what is the demand that we are talking about. So more important to educate them and understand what is the issue that we are now raising. Now this seminar, there are some slogans I've written here. For example, the first poster relating to women loco staff. Very pathetic. They are asking for a separate restroom. There is one slogan which says, don't make pregnancy as an offence. I was shocked when I read this slogan. The women want some special efforts for them to have working conditions proper. Take the case of separate restroom. Is it a very difficult thing for the railways to provide? In fact, when I was a judge, a case came before me. about the sub-jails in Tamil Nadu. Sub-jails do not have a separate restroom for women. It took 2 minutes for us to order the government to create a separate restroom. There's such a huge railway running with crores of turnover. Is it difficult for them to make a restroom separately for local staff, for the women staff? I'm asking about the pregnancy. How is it an offence? We have given hundreds of judgments. Constitution provides under Article 42 that the state shall provide steps and laws for maternity relief. Today, maternity relief is a fundamental right of the railway employee. Nobody can make it an offence. In fact, there was a case in Air India. The air hostess wanted to have pregnancy and marriage. The rule refused to have marriage ban. If you enter the service for 2 years, you cannot get married. Once you get married, you are entitled to have procreation. You are entitled to have child. Now the air hostess went to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court passed an order. Once marriage is allowed, procreation is the next step, and nobody can prevent any maternity. We have given judgments in the Labour Department in Tamil Nadu. They said suddenly two is the maximum, as if they are planning only family planning. I have held that there is no such ceiling because maternity relief is guaranteed a constitutional right. Nobody can stop. Nobody can say 2 and not 3. We have given a number of judgments. Therefore, all these demands only take one public interest litigation by LRSA. We can get all these demands. Beyond that, there is more important substantive demand. How do you treat your work? What is the humane service condition that you will make? One of the major demands is a working condition. Now, this working condition in railways, including a ceiling on the day's work, has always been a problem. Always been a problem. You remember in 1973, LRSA went on a strike, and there was an agreement. Maximum 10 hours. What is maximum 10 hours? When we are demanding 8 hours, where is the maximum 10 hours? And I am sure you know this 1974 railway strike. Many of you would not have born at that time. So let me recollect what happened. For the first time, all the railwaymen came together and formed a National Coordination Committee, and there was a huge strike. The strike was led by George Fernandez, one of the leader of one of the railway union. And George Fernandez, during the strike preparation, he came to Chennai, and there was a meeting in Periyar Thalal. First time, all the trade unions were there, all the railway unions were there. Namachivani was there, Ananta Nabiyar was there, every other leader was there in that meeting. And George Fernandez made a very passionate speech in that meeting, saying that the railway is a backbone of this country, and you can't keep them dissatisfied and still have certain socialist pretensions. If you think that India is a socialist country, you should also treat your workmen in a humane manner. After the meeting was over, we went to send him off in the central station. So he told us, during strike time they will arrest all the leaders before the strike. So keep all your leaders safe. Let them not get arrested. They should continue to direct these strikes and let them get certain protection. How to protect them? They all come from ordinary working class families. You don't have any special place to keep them safe. So he told me, as a student leader, you take care of 1 or 2 leaders. So we put Adithanar in one of our hostels. That was the working class student unity at that time. We told that hostel warden, he is our uncle, he has come for some treatment, so he will be here. So warden didn't mind, because many of the teaching faculty don't have politics, they don't understand these people at all. So Adithanar was safe in Veperi. Then what about Namachivayam? Namachivayam is also a vibrant leader, SRMU. So it became my responsibility to keep Namachivayam. So in Law College hostel, and room number 2 where I was staying, he was staying with me. I told my friends, he has come from our village, he is going to have some treatment here, therefore he will be here. So every day we used to get food in our hostel room. But Namachivayam was getting impatient, because on the 1st May 1974, George Fernandez was arrested and the strike got preponed. On 4th May, the entire railway went on strike. The position of LRSA was little doubtful. We were all thinking, where is LRSA? If LRSA comes only, the strike will be successful. After a lot of deliberation, LRSA joined the strike and it became complete. 17 lakh workers were on strike. 17 lakh workers were on strike and 16,058 workers were dismissed. 42,000 CLs were stopped from work. One of the worst repression we saw in this country during this strike. So every day Namachaya used to tell me, comrade, I want to see my workers. I told them, George told me to keep you, don't go anywhere else. You should not be arrested. But he was not listening to me. I want to meet my workers. So one day I took him in an auto rickshaw. We went to some 1,000 lights, some workers' family. As we are entering, the police van came that side. So we came back. I told him, you see what's happening. Please stay away. He would not listen to me. He said, workers will think I have gone underground. I am afraid of this repression. I must show them I am a powerful leader. Then I thought, okay, a powerful leader should operate, not get arrested in jail and go in jail, thereby demoralizing the effect. And finally, on the 5th day of his underground activity, when I was coming from our college, I saw in Malay Morosu, Namachivayam arrested. I was wondering whether to go to the hostel or not because he is in my room. I was not sure where he was arrested. Finally, when I read the news, it said he went to the Kirpak police station and got arrested. So he wanted to tell his workers that I am with you. Maybe his view. Then finally, with little courage, I came back to the room. And later, it was found there are large-scale arrests all over. On 24th May, the strike was withdrawn. There are many people that strike is broken. Strike is gone. 17 lakh workers standing in one voice, under one single coordination committee, was striking despite there have been dismissal, despite there have been arrests, despite there has been harassment everywhere. The strike went on for 20 days. It may be a defeat for the present. Tactically, it may be a defeat. But what we achieved is much more that railway workers could ever think of. In fact, it was after the strike, bonus was announced for the railway workers. When the Janata Party came to power in 1977, first time bonus was declared for the railway workers. No strike goes waste up. No strike ever is considered as a waste. It shows the working class solidarity. We may not achieve 100% our victory. In fact, there were several people, including progressive people, were all thinking this is all wrong. There will be one pregnant woman who could not go to the hospital. There will be one sick man who could not go. They will write all kinds of things. In fact, Mr. Jayagandhan, one of the progressive Tamil writer, he wrote a story in Anandavagadana. It is called Sakkarangal Sodalattum. Because we stopped the wheels, Chakkar Jam. Now he says Sakkarangal Sodalattum means let the wheels rotate. This is a progressive writer writing in a very popular magazine against the strikes. Does it mean strikes are always bad? Does it mean work actions are all invited by the working class only to improve their service condition? How do you make a deaf ruling party, a deaf government to hear? It's only by a strike. Strike is a legitimate weapon of the working class. And it did not come on one day. It came for several years of fight. The Indian working class is not merely for economic demands. The Indian working class fought for political freedom also. Railway workers were the forefront of such struggles. Whenever any political leader, whether it's Mahatma Gandhi or Pandit Nehru, anybody is arrested, the working class will go on strike. It is not their demand. It is not their economic demand. It's a political freedom of this country. Therefore, the Congress party supported the working class by saying, when we come to power, we will see to it that the working class will get a fair deal in this country. That is all. Even in 1963, Congress party passed a resolution in Avadi. The Padi railway station came when the conference, that's the place where the conference took place. And later they gave the area to TVS management. And the Padi station is a reminder where Avadi Congress was held. They passed a resolution, socialistic pattern of society we will create. All this is a Congress promise. Some of the labor laws are also brought in during this time. We know how the labor laws work, and we will not go into details of the law. But one important thing is that after Congress party came to power, what really happened is more important. Congress party promised that the working class will have a due share of their own labor protective legislation. The working class right to protest will not be affected. The first case came from railway. There was a union leader. His name is Bala Kotaya. He was a leader in the Dakshin Railway. He was arrested under the Madras Maintenance of Protection Order. He was arrested and kept in jail in Madras Central Jail. Immediately Railway removed him from service. He challenged his removal. That was the first constitutional case for the labour side. There were other constitutional cases, but Bala Kotaya, when he went to the Supreme Court, finally from Madras High Court, Supreme Court, he argued that I am a railway union leader, I am entitled to be in the union, I am also entitled to lead the agitation of the workers. Very unfortunately, the Supreme Court in 1958, after 8 years of the Constitution, which guarantees right to form an association as a fundamental right of free expression as a fundamental right, they told Bala Kotaya, you cannot have it both ways. Either you are a railway worker or a railway union leader. Choose yourself. You can't be both. For the first time, shockingly, Supreme Court said that you cannot be in a union at the same time be a worker of the central government. Now, this is the judgment which we got in 1958. It took another 4 years for the Supreme Court to say a government servant can also have fundamental right. A government servant can be in a union. A government servant can also protest for his own demands. Now this is 1962. The Supreme Court in the state of Bihar case, they said that the right of the working class to continue in employment and also to have their constitutional right exercise is also a guaranteed right. That is how the trend got changed. But you must understand one thing, that our leaders on the earlier days, whether in the British days or in the post-constitutional days, were only receiving raw deal. It is their sacrifice. It is their sacrifice which got us all this people. Many of you may not know who is Bala Kotaya, but you must know one thing. It is the Supreme Court which told him, be a railway employee or be a union leader. You cannot have it both ways. Can you think of all these positions before? It did not take much time. Later in 1966, another railway union case, where Niranjan case, Supreme Court curiously said, any railway employee has no right to protest within the premises of the railway during the working hours, and they cannot be in the hold meetings in the railways. When the Supreme Court gave this judgment, did they ever realize the railway owns hundreds and hundreds of acres? There are quarters where railway employees are kept, where they cannot have meetings. Today, even now, the position is that you cannot hold meetings within the premises. Premises means in a small company there is a premises. Railways are huge. From Kanyakumari to Kashmir, there is railways everywhere. And there are so many acres of land unused. There are so many broad buildings that have been constructed. How does Supreme Court pass an order that the railway workers cannot protest within the premises? This is something which we have to seriously think of. When we talk about struggle, when we talk about our demand, we should also talk about our history, the history that we have crossed, the obstacle that we have faced. Now it is within this parameter we should consider that where we are going. Today it did not stop with the railway workers. Today there is an increased attack. You remember our brother association, postal employees. Postal and railway always go together. There is a railway mail service. Now All India Postal Employees Association, one of the biggest association of the postal employees. There is also privatization, there is also courier service, there is also so many privatization drive in postal department. They are also fighting. Now All India Postal Employees Association last month, the central government de-recognized them. It was a recognized association, one of the foremost association of the postal employees for class 3 and class 4 employees. Suddenly central government issued a notice that this association is de-recognized. What is the reason? Has any one of you read in the papers? The reason was they sent some 5,000 rupees to the farmers who were agitating in Delhi against the farm laws. You must know one thing, that working class has got no boundaries. I am an employee, you are a postal employee, you are a shipping employee, nothing like that. Railways, working class knows no boundaries. That is why Karl Marx said, working class of the world unite. You have nothing to lose except your chains. Now, when postal employees send some money to the fighting farmers in Delhi, that becomes the reason for deregularizing them. Thus the central government knew that under the Trade Union Act, there are two types of funds. Section 15 talks about general fund. Section 16 talks about political fund. A trade union can have a fund and support any action they want. There is no prohibition at all. This law came during the British days, not during Modi days. In 1926 this law was made. You can have a political fund and support any candidate you want. That is the right that the working class had for the last 100 years. Now you tell them, you have sent money to farmers. Why? They are our brothers. Agriculture industry will go together. And the peasants and the workers of India will stand together to fight against all undemocratic policies. We may not be able to go there to their agitation. One of the best agitation that we had for all these years. What were they agitating? Certain farm laws were anti-workers, anti-peasant, anti-farmers, and therefore they were fighting. Parliament, when they brought a bill, there was no discussion. It was just passed in the last monsoon session. There was no discussion, simply it was passed because they have a brute majority in the parliament. Opposition walked out, then they said, bill passed. But the bill could not pass with the farmers. The farmers of Punjab, the farmers of Haryana, farmers of Himachal Pradesh, they came in large numbers in their tractors and sat near Singur in Delhi. You must see them, how they are fighting. Not sit in an air-conditioned hall, they were sitting in the road, cooking for everybody, not for one or two people. Lakhs of people are sitting in the protest. Not only they were giving food, if you are staying there, your clothes are washed, your clothes are ironed. There is an ironing machine, there are ironing volunteers, there are washing volunteers, there are sabji preparation, there are women volunteers who are making cooking, and millions of chapatis are made every day, rotis are made every day. One of the finest struggles that you can ever learn, that the working class made a situation where they could stay continuously in a street and live there and show the government we are protesting. First, the government said nothing doing. Then they said you must clear from the public pathway. They could not do all this because there were thousands of tractors who were there. There were sleeping beds, there were sleeping sheds. Everything was arranged there in that place. And finally, when the UP elections came, they said, we will concede your demand. And when they lost the UP election, they withdrew the bill. Why I am giving this as an example was, farmers had a farm act. Workers are having house code, industrial relation code, payment of wages code, code on wages, social security code. There are 4 codes. 29 labor laws have been reduced into 4 codes. In the name of simplification, they have reduced. How much discussion that took place in parliament? Hardly there was any discussion. The members simply walked saying that this is not discussion, send it to the committee. 1 or 2 bills went to the committee, the parliamentary committee. Parliamentary committee gave some amendments. They could not do it. They passed all the bills. Now any time central government can say, we will implement this code. Then your Industrial Disputes Act will go, your Payment of Wages Act will go, your Payment of Bonus Act will go, there will be new laws. All right, there are new laws. How is that we are going to be benefited? Are we going to get some new rights under the law? Why, in the name of simplifying and codification, you are converting 29 laws into 4 codes? Now, why? How much we have understood these codes? The farmers were able to understand within 1 month of the bill being passed that this is going to affect them. Thus, the working class of this country understood that these laws are not good for us. This is going to take away all our 100-year struggle that we had to get these laws. Are they going to say all this now? Now, why is that we are not discussing those issues? We are only discussing our own demand. This is a problem. When the farmers are fighting for a larger issue, the working class is fighting for their own domestic issues. My working time, my various other conditions such as these slogans which are there. Why that we are not discussing the larger issue? Are it not going to affect us? I can take a day to explain what are these amendments that are going to come in. So only one simple order of the central government to implement these laws. Just small, a small letter is enough. All the laws will come into force. They are no longer a bill. They are no longer a draft legislation. They are actually act passed by the parliament. And if these acts are passed by the parliament, do you think all our demands will be solved by the new enactment? I think LRSA must have a discussion on these new 4 codes. Maybe we do not have the strength, we do not have the courage like the farmers to fight for days together, unmindful of the police repression. In fact, one BJP MP's minister's son, he drove a vehicle and killed 8 farmers in that agitation. Still the case goes on. With such repression, they were able to win their demand. Why we have not even started discussing these codes are all going to be useful or not? These codes are going to help us or not? We don't know. And now we find already a Postal Employees Association lost their recognition. How long they take for them to lose our recognition? Even some of the unions are not recognized. It is our sheer strength, it is our unity that makes the government to somewhat listen to our demand. But does it going to happen? Many other people were saying privatization. Now privatization is one of the draconian steps where the wealth of this country is given to some individuals, some foreign companies, some corporates. Adanis and Ambanis are the new prosperous employers in this country, and they will own. In some of the airports they have already purchased. Out of 29 airports, 14 airports are with the Adani and Ambani. Now there is also a talk, some of the trains will be handed over to private hands. Even Shirdi train from Coimbatore is run by private operators. You see the ticket, some 3,500 rupees. Now if you want to privatize, how are we going to oppose? Going to court? The court said in Balco's case, we are not here to decide all these matters. It is a matter of policy. Somebody said in our constitution, we the people of India give ourselves this constitution to constitute this country into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. What is the word of socialism? The judges are having no patience. They said socialism is a catchword. You may say socialism in the caption, but we are a capitalist country. And therefore, only capitalism will prevail. We will not interfere in any disinvestment. Public sectors will be sold to Adanis and Ambanis for a song. Banks will advance loan to these people without any return. There will be a sticky advance. Who is going to question all this? Why is that the working class only thinks about their demand and not the demand which has a direct bearing on their existence, which has a direct bearing on our life? Why is that we are not talking about LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization? In fact, one judge wrote, we are happy there is a privatization. We go to airport, there are bars which are available. So judge wants to buy whiskey and rum, let him whiskey. But that is not privatization. In fact, I remember in Trivandrum, that international airport, they want to give it to Adani. But the left government led by Pinarayi Vijayan told, we will run the airport. If the central government doesn't want to run, we will run this airport. So they also said they made an application. Their application was rejected. No, we will only give it to Adani. They went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court said, you are too late. We are not going to consider this demand. Now the Adani will be running an airport of which 900 acres were given by the Kerala government on acquisition. No airport is run by central government without the land being given by the state government with a free of cost. Now how do they give the money, the wealth created by the state government to some private companies? Now this is something which the working class should start fighting for, a larger issue, that it is our wealth which can't go to private hands. We are not saying Dr. Ambedkar, who presided over the Constituent Assembly, who became the chairman of the drafting committee, in Article 39(8), he has said that the wealth of this country can never be in the hands of few. It has to be centralized, decentralized, to go to the people. Now, when the Constitution talks about decentralization of the wealth in the hands of the people and not in the hands of few monopoly houses, how is that the Modi Shah company says we will sell every company? This is something, a larger economic issues, a issue which affects directly the working class of this country. We should now discuss those issues and then start fighting against privatization. Not privatizing one railway and one railway station. It's a question of privatizing the public sector of this country. LIC, one of the biggest insurance company, nationalized in 1956 by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, which has grown from heights, from leaps and bounds, and now you say we will have privatization. We have seen in general insurance they brought in. There are 4 general insurance companies with 1 corporation. Now there are 29 private companies in the same field. The result is that your profit sharing will go down. I am not saying competition, there can't be any competition. You can improve. LIC has done great work. Nobody even accused of LIC being inefficient. Today they openly say we will sell the shares of LIC. Are we not directly linked with the LIC employees? Are we not directly linked with the de-investment of the bank? In 1970, when 14 banks were nationalized, we were hailing Indira Gandhi. She got elected in 1971 election. 6 other banks are also nationalized. Now what is happening? There is a merger, there is a demerger, and there is a sale of these companies, these bank employees to private. The very purpose of nationalization get defeated now. Why there was nationalization? If you see the parliamentary debate in 1967-68, when the 24th Amendment was brought in to justify the nationalization, the idea was they collect money from the people and use it their own private company. The monopoly houses uses the public money to benefit their own private company, and therefore it was nationalized. Now, does the position change now? Maybe there are no Tatas and Birlas as heard in those days. Today we have Adanis and Ambanis. Is not the matter concerning us? Or not the bank employees going through the same process of disinvestment, privatization, workload increase, reduction of workforce, change of service condition? All that is going on in every sphere, whether it is the Reserve Bank or State Bank or any other nationalized bank. LIC, general insurance, mining company, all these go through the same process. Therefore, you should understand our demand is not our demand alone. The demand is of the entire working classes. The public sector has to be saved. How it will be saved? How do you work for it? There are 2 methods there. One is to fight. The other one is to select a new leaders who will promise that such things will not happen. Who will promise that the Constitution of India will be fulfilled in any of the measures taken by the government. Unless it is done. I remember in 1970s, Mr. A.K. Padmanabhan was there, the railway catering cleaners, not even catering workers, railway catering cleaners, they will be cleaning the floor, they will be cleaning all this. That is privatized. So the railway started picking up on a very small, somebody who cleans the floor, and that is privatized. So we used to go and shout every day, don't privatize catering cleaners, please give them departmentalized. The catering workers were little bit departmentalized, but the catering cleaners were left to fend for themselves. This always happens. You take the banks, they will pick up on the office staff, office assistant, peon, attender, delivery person, security guard. Today many banks do not have security guard for ATM machines. When lakhs of rupees are stuck in those boxes, and there is no, because they think we have put on CCTV there, So in the name of rationalization, in the name of saving, they attack the lowest and lowly paid employees first. Central government don't buy cars. Central government officers don't have any cars. They will fire taxis. And then the taxi will come at what price? You will not believe. Recently I was appointed by the state government in one committee. Then they showed one GO and provided with transport. How transport no government company, they tell a private company. Then they brought the quotation. The quotation says 80,000 rupees per month. For 20 days it comes to 4,000 rupees. From my office to my new office is only half a kilometer. I can walk. Now, do you think I will pay 4,000 rupees for this half a kilometer? That is not the price that the government is paying. Every central government, every state government, they make fat money out of privatization. Some of the officers make more money in privatization, therefore they love privatization. They work for privatization. Whereas we work for the larger good of this country, not for our own individual self. So when we are fighting for catering cleaners, the matter went to Supreme Court. In 1984, Supreme Court gave a very good judgment. The judgment said, catering cleaners of Southern Railway versus Union of India owning railway. That's a judgment given by Justice Chennappa Reddy, one of the brilliant judge, who was a pro-working class, who was a socialist by conviction. He said that privatization is a disease. It's the most decadent practice of any capitalism. Capitalism never agrees to have different leadership. It's only one leadership. You cannot, by outsourcing, create a series of leaders for a worker. So he told the railways, you better departmentalize all of the catering cleaners. They became. Now what is the other outcome? Now you will have another company, IRTC. That's a different company, not railways. Now IRTC, what they do? They'll completely outsource the whole thing. So what they can't do directly, how to get over Supreme Court judgment, create another company, outsource everything. Now this is what most dangerous thing. And finally I want to tell you one thing. After this Balasur accident, first thing they'll catch hold of drivers. Is it a human fault? Is it a human negligence? Then CBI will come, NIA will come. Is there any foreign hand? All this is going on now. So why is that they are catching? I can understand government want to put the blame on somebody because the number of deaths is so high. They are not satisfied. But the railway minister will not resign. They say he is a MIT graduate. He is worked in, he is an IAS officer. He is a bureaucrat. He did all this, and he sits in Balasur to monitor all this is good. But under your leadership, the greatest loss of lives are taken place. Why you are not quitting? It's not as never happened before. It happened before also. When there is a huge accident, railway minister will resign. Lal Bahadur Shastri resigned as a railway minister, owning moral responsibility. Now these people have no morals. Most important thing is, what is the public support that we get? I saw in some of the social media, these are all due to reservation. If only meritorious candidates are holding this position of railway driver, this will not happen. Due to reservation. Therefore, the direct attack is against the backward community, is against the Dalit, because we enjoy the reservation. Now you brought a new reservation under 103rd Amendment, EWS, economically weaker section are given. Now you see the latest result. They are the last of the last. When Dalit cut-off mark is 250, when the MBC cut-off mark is 267, when the EWS cut-off mark is 127, where is your merit? Are you not recruiting people like that from the upper caste? And that reservation is only meant for the upper caste, not for the other community. The BC, the SC cannot compete in there. I remember the same arguments came in 1974, 1981, before the Supreme Court. The case was filed by All India Soshit Karamchari Sangh. That is oppressed people Karamcharis there. They are oppressed because they have a reservation. And then it came before a very good judge, Justice Krishnaiyer, the brilliant humanist, the socialist, heart of heart, the pro-working class. That judge, the argument was that if you stop recruiting meritorious candidates, there will be more accident. Reservation is a cause for all the bad thing that is happening. That is the argument that was one. You can read from the judgment, 1981, Krishnaiyer judgment in All India Soshit Karamchari Sangh, where he has written, if people who are arguing before us that the reservation has brought all these miseries, does it mean if there is no reservation, railways are going to have accident-free weeks? He has asked in the judgment. If you stop reservation, does it mean there will be no accident in this country? This is what pains me today is some of this vicious, poisonous posting that comes in the social media. Today social media is also a boom, it's also a danger for us. All kinds of stories can be planted. After Balasur, I saw four comments which says it's all because of reservation. I am reminded of this 81 judgment of Justice Krishna Iyer, which is a weapon in our hand. Krishna Iyer said, does it mean railways are going to have accident-free weeks? There is no reservation. So this is something, an attack, not come from government, it's also come from the society, a group of society which almost feel. Now I am asking that group, that vested interest group, have they opposed 103rd amendment, EWS quota today, where the EWS quota was the upper caste cut-off point less than the scheduled caste cut-off. Then which merit that you are talking about? In fact, under Article 336, when you reserve, it also says the reservation will be subject to efficiency of running the institution. The word efficiency is mentioned therein, as if that should be a guarantee for making a reservation. Now, in the EWS quota, there is no such safeguard is being made. For a scheduled caste, you must have efficiency. For a MBC, you must have efficiency. For upper caste, no efficiency. That is what we are running a railway, we are running every department of the government. Now, this social policy, this perilous policy of the government, have you all discussed on these issues? Let our demand be there. We are getting some sufficient income more than some of the private operators. We are getting something lower. We should fight for the larger interests of this country, not just for ourselves. Our interest is also indirectly tied to the interests of every working class of this country. So what we need is a platform of working class fighting against the economic and social policies of the government. And 2024 is a clear watermark. You must decide which government you want. Thank you.
Hello. This is Chandru. He spoke as a working class justice. As an advocate, he fought for the workers. As a justice, he delivered judgments in favor of the working class. Even now, even after demitting his office, he is still working for the common cause of the common people in the working class. And he gave a very good lecture here. We are highly thankful on behalf of this gathering. Thank you very much, sir. Now I request Comrade K. Pasardi, Joint Secretary General, for presentation of paper. You are only presenting by reading. Okay.